Start here, Star Citizen. Star Citizen is a complex game that does not hold your hand, nor have appropriate in-game tutorials yet. This new and returning player guide for Star Citizen Alpha 3.18 will take you through all the basics of your first few hours in the game, and then where to go from there. It's an alpha. Star Citizen is an alpha game. There are bugs. It's still being built out, and a lot of what's going on is awesome and beautiful, but very incomplete. And there are persistence wipes occasionally putting you back to square one. Still, there is a massive amount of fun to be had and wow factor in the game even now. Firstly, you'll need to make an account and choose a ship. So you'll want to make an RSI account if you don't already have one. You can do that via the links down below. Then you'll need a ship and game access, which you can get with a starter package. The cheapest are the Aurora MR and Mustang Alpha starter packages, but for a few extra coins, you can grab yourself a Drake Cutter or what are deemed as second tier starships that are a little bit better, like the Avenger Titan or Reliant. That said, everything can be earned in-game. You only need a starter pack and a single ship, and one day you can have yourself a mighty space yacht without having to spend any more money. For this tutorial, we're going to pick up a Drake Cutter, but you can use any starter ship that you want. Once you launch the game, you'll want to create a character, however you see fit, then choose your spawn location and home. We're going to pick Horizon Crusader here. It's down to personal preference. You are going to be traveling around the verse anyway. You'll spawn in a bed in your hab, just move around like you normally would in any game, WSAD. Look around if you want, take in the sights of your hab, but we want to go up to a door and operate it. Hold F to interact with your environment, left click to operate. With a lot of objects, you can just tap F to like open a door or do a quick function. Go to the nearby elevator, call it with the button, and travel to the lobby. We are going to exit this building and navigate to the spaceport, so we will need to take the public transport, in this case a shuttle. We want to go to the shuttle marked August Dunlow Spaceport and board the shuttle there, or wait for it if it's not there. Your next stop will be the spaceport station. Take the elevator there to the actual spaceport proper. You'll pass by a Traveller Rentals, where you can rent ships, and you can find these at most spaceports. Anyway, we're going to travel towards the hangars, and you'll come across the ASOP terminals. Interact with one of these, and this is where we're going to spawn your ship. Select your ship and spawn it with the retrieve button. If your ship has been destroyed or lost, or isn't at the location that you want to spawn it from, then you can also just click the reclaim button there, wait a couple of minutes for starter ships, and then you can retrieve it. It will then tell you what hangar your ship is spawned in, but it will also show you on your HUD. You want to go to the elevators and then travel to the hangar that it told you. Approach your ship and interact with the entry point to enter your ship. You might want to climb up a ladder or enter in through the rear ramp and then go towards the pilot seat. It depends on what ship you have. Approach the pilot seat and interact with it. Enter that pilot seat. You can exit a seat at any time by holding Y. You'll want to do this anytime you want to leave your ship. Now we're in our pilot seats, you can set your ship to flight ready, which will turn on all your systems by pressing R. You'll also need to request takeoff permission from the Air Traffic Control Center, the ATC. To do this, press F1 to open up your Mobiglass, then click the Contacts tab at the bottom, and then the ATC under your contacts. After you've requested that by clicking on it, then press F1 to close your Mobiglass. Alternatively, you can press Alt-N to request takeoff and landing. You do have to be in range of the air traffic control. This will then open the hangar doors for you. The basics of a control: gently press space to move up and then control to move down. Sort of position yourself so you can exit the hangar, and then you can press W, S, A, and D to thrust you in that direction. F4 will cycle camera mode. Gently leave the hangar and then fly around to take in the view. Don't get too close to the ground or structures though, because that's against the law and you can often crash and explode. You can also press N to retract your landing gear. N actually toggles landing gear up or down. Once you are ready, we're going to take a mission. With a starter ship, you can do a variety of different missions, but we're going to do an easy combat mission to start with. This will teach you the basics of travel and ship combat. Let's take the Tracker Training Permit Certificate mission, which will allow you to take on very low-risk target bounties. Open the Mobiglass F1 and go to the Contracts tab and look for the Bounties tab. You'll have to pay a small Alpha UBC fee to take the mission. Always read the mission's description before you actually accept. We're going to travel to the target area after taking this mission and kill the target. You can open the Moby-Glass and go to the star map, F2, and as long as you're tracking the mission, you can track one mission at a time in the Contracts Manager, you'll be able to see the location you need to go to, select it, set as destination, and then close your Moby-Glass. You'll need to fly out of the atmosphere of Crusader. You can increase and lower your maximum speed with the mouse wheel. Press C, that will set cruise control. Please remember to turn cruise control off when you don't need it, otherwise you will crash into things. Once you're a little way up and out of the atmosphere, you'll be able to quantum travel, press B, and head towards the waypoint that's set for your mission. Once the quantum drive is spooled, hold B while facing at the location, and you'll quantum travel towards your target. There might be a couple of jumps based on where you set your location. If you're still not out of the atmosphere, then a message will show in red saying exit atmosphere, so just go up a bit further. Once you've arrived at the target location, we will need to fight. You'll want to press T to target the nearest appropriate enemy in view. Left click will fire your weapons. Right click will fire any other weapons that you've got in weapon group 2, but you probably won't have them. You'll want to aim at the pip marker with your weapons. Basically, it predicts where the impact point is going to be, pip. You can cycle your weapon or gimbal mode with G from manual to fixed to auto gimbal. If you want an easier firing solution, pick auto. That has a dotted line. You can tell that it's auto gimbal. It's got a dotted line around the center. Keep your pip marker within that, and the system will lightly auto aim for you. Shift will give you a boost of acceleration. It's afterburner. Q and E will roll. Pressing H or J will fire countermeasures for dealing with missiles. If you have missiles, then pressing middle mouse will toggle the missile mode. So if you're in missile mode, you're not firing your traditional weapons, but you'll want to sort of wait for the missile to lock on and then left click to fire it. Try to shoot and take down your target. If you want to do a long-range radar ping for contacts, then press tab. This is vital in tracking down stragglers or probes. You'll see where any detected signatures are roughly located in sort of like little cubes. If you want to scan something for more info, press V and then left click and hold on the target to scan it. Dying and respawning. If you die for any reason, and you will die a lot in Star Citizen, you can respawn at a hospital or medbed that you've set. Each station and landing zone will typically have one, and a couple of ships like the Carrack and 890 Jump also have respawn points. You'll need to interact with the regen terminal in these facilities if you want to change your spawn point to that location. You will lose anything on your body when you die. Technically, you can go back to where your body was to retrieve it, but this is often much more trouble than it's worth. You can always go into Arena Commander as well, Pirate Swarm or Vandal Swarm, to learn ship combat in a much more action and arcadey fashion too, with no downsides. If you die loads, you just keep on respawning. So you finished a mission, or some missions, or want to return to base. You're going to be travelling to many cities and locations and stations. When you turn up at a station or a landing zone, you'll want to request landing. This will mark a hangar that you want to go to, so go towards that. Put down your landing gear by pressing N and land. You can hold N after your landing gear is down, and if you're extremely close to the landing area, the system will auto-land for you. When you are landed at these landing zones, you can and should restock, repair, and refuel. While in a hangar and in the pilot seat, open your Moby-Glass with F1 and select Vehicle Services, then select the services that you want to pay for. If you don't restock fuel every so often, you're going to run out of quantum fuel when you're traveling huge distances. In this situation, you could request someone come and rescue you. The other types of mission and basics that you'll want to go through are FPS Combat and General Survival. We can take more FPS-focused missions in the Mercenary tab, though there are various other tabs that they appear in, but as we have a home at Orison, there are FPS missions that you can access from the landing zone there too. You might want to buy a better weapon or equip one that you've picked up. You can go to a shop and interact with the terminals there to buy something. At Orison, there's a shopping centre and a Kelto there with a couple of weapons and ammo. Ammo's very important. You can press I to open your inventory and move items around. If you're at a landing zone or on a ship, you can move items between your inventory and those other locations, but you also can equip weapons and items here. Just drag them onto your character. If for some reason you remove your flight suit or you've died and respawned, you'll want to put a new flight suit on so that you can wear armor, so that you can wear a helmet. At some locations, you'll notice that there is a timer showing in the lower part of your HUD. This is typically due to you being too hot, too cold, or having low oxygen or an oxygen limit that you need to be aware of. You can get better suits and armor to protect you from the elements. Make sure that you are wearing a helmet in space or on most planets and moons. You're also going to need to eat and drink. You'll need to take a helmet off if you want to eat and drink. You won't need to do this super regularly though. I do recommend it being done every time you come back to a station or landing zone, every few missions or so. With FPS Combat, you'll want to be sure that you're shooting at an enemy rather than a friendly, otherwise you risk getting a criminal rating. Crusader Security, for example, typically have white and blue armor on, so don't shoot those guys. Sometimes friendlies are marked on the HUDs in certain missions and areas. FPS enemies can range from very derpy to very deadly. Getting used to this at Orison with the missions there means that you can respawn at a nearby hospital and try again if you do die. You can equip med pens and use them by pressing C, but med guns can also be bought from pharmacies. If you have them equipped on you, you can pull them out by pressing 4, then toggle them targeting yourself with B, and then left click to apply a heal. There are a whole lot of different injuries and effects that you can get that you might need to go to a hospital or medbed for. Go to the facility, request the service from one of the appropriate terminals, then go to the room that it says, lay in the bed and treat the injury. You can also temporarily treat an injury with appropriate med pens or the med gun. I always recommend having a med gun with you where possible. At some point in the game, you're going to have a criminal rating. At the top of your HUD, you'll be able to see what that criminal rating is. If it's just a level 1 or 2, you can operate like a normal member of society and even pay off those fines to remove your criminal stat at a fine terminal that you can find at most landing zones. However, if you have a crime stat of 3 or above, guards, security, and defences will be hostile to you. You will not be able to request landing at lawful areas either. You can try your luck by going to Security Post Korea to hack down your criminal rating, but if you get killed in this state, you will go to prison. So you're in prison. What do you do? There are various ways to leave, but at this stage, I'd recommend taking missions to fix oxygen generators and getting some merits to be able to leave quicker. You can see your time left in the central prison hub and then go to the elevator when you've spent your time. You can also read the laws of an area that you're in the journal section of your Mobiglass. But there's a load of other mission types that you'll want to go and do and explore. Missions in the personal tab are normally less publicly available and normally leaning towards criminal missions. When you have a better ship, you can take harder bounty missions and do certifications for harder targets. Investigation and search missions will have you going to an area, trying to find some stuff, maybe fighting some ships or FPS goons. Racing time trials are part of Alpha 3.18 for those that are interested. They're new. There are missions to help an 890 jump that's under attack, release prisoners from a caterpillar, clear out bunkers. Just read the mission description. Some missions are going to be much harder than others, intended for group play or with sort of military high-tier ships in mind. Grouping up in parties. You can add people into your party by approaching them and interacting with them, F left click, or via the comm link on the Mobiglass. You can also add friends and party up with them in the menu screen before you launch into the game. You can share most missions with party members in the Contracts Manager Accepted tab. If you are having trouble with any mission, just ask in chat if someone wants to group up. You can set your in-game voice over IP push-to-talk key in the options menu, key bindings, advanced controls, customization, VoIP, FOIP, and head tracking. That is worth doing. In fact, when you have time or any time that you say, I wish there was a key for X, there normally is, or at least one that you can set for it. Other important little things that you might want to know, you can buy components and weapons for your ship and then customize your ship with the vehicle loadout app on the Mobiglass. Starter ships typically have room for size 1 components and size 1 to 2 weapons. That said, most components are basically the same currently. There is loot to find in a lot of locations that you will discover, and bodies to loot as well. Just interact with them to loot them. Remember, you are relatively vulnerable while doing that. There's a load of credits to be made, not just through missions, but also mining, salvage, refining, cargo hauling. I recommend you set your first major goal as trying to buy an Avenger Titan in-game, or at least trying to rent one. It's a great ship for cargo and combat with a lot of weapon choice. You can find ship shops with different inventories at major planetary zones. You can also grab a multi-tool and a salvage attachment to strip the hulls of a ship, or even repair holes in ships, or get a mining attachment to mine small mineral nodes on planets and moons. There's a rep system that gives you rewards and more missions the more you rise in rep with that particular sort of company or character. You will start to get new opportunities that weren't open to you before. There are major events in the game, such as Jumptown, Xenothreat, Siege of Orison, etc. For like a couple of weeks, every couple of months, these sort of events turn up. Cloud Imperium announce and describe the event on their website, so you can get involved with that. Remember, Star Citizen is an alpha. Be a tourist, take in the views, try out some missions, don't be afraid to die and lose your stuff. You can always reclaim it and do an account reset from the RSI website if nothing else. Star Citizen's bugs can be a bit unforgiving and annoying and erratic at times. Just bear that in mind. It can have an adventure cut short due to you've got a criminal rating or the server crashed or you randomly die. That said, these issues are happening less and less typically each patch. If you get stuck in your pilot seat, you can hold backspace to self-destruct your ship, and on foot you can hold backspace to force respawn yourself. Just to remind you as well, pretty much everything can be earned or bought in-game. You only need a starter pack to get access to be able to earn the ship of your dreams eventually. That all said, I do really recommend that you join an organisation. Find an org that you like the sound of. There's loads of orgs trying to recruit all the time. They will have someone that wants to do the gameplay that you want to do with them on a regular basis, and Star Citizen is much more fun when shared with a group. At least, that's what I think. Boom! That's it for your 3.18 new player guide for Star Citizen. Hopefully that covers the basics of what you need to know. If you have any questions or game tips even for other players, then please leave them in the comments below, and Peeps will answer them if possible. Thank you very much for joining me today, and welcome to the verse. Oh, what's this? I just found all your search history online. You filthy boy, buying spaceships and going on Ship Hub. Zin, show a picture of a sexy ship or something. You should have used NordVPN. It's a VPN, obviously, and it has my seal of approval because I shill for them. Use the links below to get a discount and help protect your data, identity, privacy, and to help with online accessibility. If you'd like to further support the channel, then please consider becoming a YouTube member with the join button under my videos. You could even become a Patreon. There's links below to that. But liking, subscribing, commenting goes a huge way to help the channel grow. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the verse.